Palace. And now, as we get ready for the main event, let's take you back to our host, James Brown.
All right, Timmy, thank you very much. And indeed, it looks like Thomas Hearns may have his career back on track. A very impressive showing in the first round of action. But right now, let's turn our attention to the main event. Of course, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield are going at it in a rematch appropriately titled Repeat or Revenge. But of course, we all remember 1 year ago when these two provided one of the more memorable heavyweight title fights in recent years.
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick
Live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's time for the main event. IBF and WBA heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe defends his title against the former champion Evander Holyfield, and it's scheduled for 12 rounds. The main event is brought to you by Budweiser, proud to be your bud. So we return to the scene of so many major fights over the years. Hearns-Leonard, Holmes-Cooney, Hagler-Hearns, Hagler-Leonard, and now a rematch of the two most recent heavyweight champions. The corporate jets have all landed, and all of the celebrities, the high rollers, and the fans who attend major championship fights are settled at ringside and elsewhere in this 15,000-plus seat stadium outside of Caesars Palace. And the opening bell is just moments away. And folks, it's not just fight fans who are anxiously awaiting this match tonight. The current practitioners of the sweet science are also here. Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy of the junior lightweight division, joins me, as well as the WBC lightweight title holder, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Fellas, thank you very much. Sweet Pea, first of all, let me talk to you. I guess so many folks have been talking, and if in fact I made you a middleweight, I know that you are a welterweight. So many folks talking about that fight back in September, the draw with Julio Cesar Chavez. Are you over it yet?
Oh, actually I am, but I don't think the fans are over it. The fans are still screaming for a rematch. I think we had a press conference today. We offered him $7 million. He has until November the 12th to accept that. And I don't think it's the money. I think it's the fact that the fans want to see it again. And I think we owe it to the fans.
So you're still very upset. Do you think he'll take that offer?
Well, hopefully he does, but if he doesn't, I don't really need him. I already proved to the world and to the fans that the fans know who's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I know my family, my wife and kids know, you know, and I think that the fans, but they still want to see the Whitaker Chavez too, and they want to see it here in Caesars Palace.
All right, and a number of fans have also been clamoring to see the golden boy of the junior lightweight division, Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar, that pretty smile is still there, but I'm sure that had to be wiped off of your face the first time you've been floored in a professional bout, your last fight against Narciso Valenzuela. How did you react to it?
Well, the way I reacted to it was the first time I've been floored. It was the first time I've been on the canvas, and it was a different experience for myself. I learned from it. The way I felt was just to take my time, keep calm and cool about it, and not really get over anxious of trying to knock this guy out because of what he did to me. And so I just took my time and afterwards floored him.
And took care of him in one round of that.
And took care of him in one round. It was a very exciting round.
Now, again, things have been going quite well for you, but we understand that there is, at least in a discussion phase, a possible quantum leap up and a title fight with Genaro Hernandez. Is that going to take place? Where do we sit with that?
Yes, negotiations are taking place right now. At this moment, Mr. Bob Aram, Mr. Robert Middleman, my manager, is working out that contract there. And hopefully I can become a world champion in February. I really don't know if they're going to take the offer, Genaro Hernandez, and hopefully it can be any champion. I feel I'm ready. I feel I have the experience, and I feel I can do it if I really train hard and really get more experience in the gym.
And again, you're 11-0, but you feel you are ready now? You have the skills to make that quantum leap up?
I feel I am ready. I feel I'm mature enough to go up there with top quality opponents. I'm confident about it. When I really train hard and prepare myself, I feel very confident that I can beat anybody. And it feels good because when you train hard, you feel unstoppable.
Okay, talking about quality opponents, and I'm going to get both of you to comment on this, but let's talk about the main event, Bowe and Holyfield. Who do you like and why?
I like Holyfield for this fight. I like the reason why is because I don't think Bowe is taking the fight seriously. I don't think he's training harder than Evander Holyfield. I think Evander Holyfield is really dedicating himself in the gym and really taking this fight really serious. He wants to become champion again. He's hungry, and hopefully we can see a ex-champion become a new champion again.
All right, well, I don't know why I'm smiling as I turn to Sweet Pea for this question. Everyone knows how close you and Evander Holyfield are, but try to be a dispassionate observer. Who do you like in the fight and why?
Well, of course, I date back to 1984, James, and we were in the Olympics together. We've been close for 11 years, but I think Evander, he does want to have his titles back. Oscar said it, he put it in a great way. I think Evander's, he's motivated. He's opened himself up to the media. He's come more relaxed. But you still can't take it away from Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe is the champion. He's hungry. He don't have any excuses. It's not about his weight or how much he come in. He weighed in at 246. That doesn't mean anything from the last time. This kid.
So that doesn't matter in terms of Bowe being 11 pounds heavier than the first time?
You got to say Riddick Bowe can fight. He can box. He's a general. He knows the ring. And I can say one thing about Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe is a complete fighter. You know, he knows uppercut, hook. He's not a big, flabby guy that just swing and try to land a lucky punch. But I say all those things, but I still say that Evander is more hungrier. He lost to Riddick Bowe, and he wants to have that title back. You know, he was talking of retirement, but I think he wants his title back and he wants to move on. He wants to have more fights. He wants to stay in the public eye.
Okay, well, we'll find out who's going to be in the public eye. Well, both Pernell and Oscar have answered questions about what they expect to happen in the Evander Holyfield-Riddick Bowe rematch. But in the minds of many others, there are still a lot of questions to be answered since that first matchup between those two. And, of course, those questions will have to be answered tonight. Let's take a look.
The question I have really is, why is he doing it? I mean, man has all the money in the world now.
What then has pushed Evander Holyfield back into the ring?
I'm coming back because I want to be champion of the world again. I'm still 30. You know, I hadn't lost any ability. I didn't get hurt. I'm good health, and there's no reason why I shouldn't come back and win.
He's confused. And being confused, he wants to clarify various different things.
I felt that I would fought my best fight and not made so many mistakes and both beat me. I would just have to just realize that, you know, my time is up. but I realize that my time is not up.
I guess he feels like I can help him clarify these things. And so we do battle once again. Well, I'm gonna weigh in where I'm comfortable. If it's 235, then so be it. If it's 240, 245, then let it be. I'm not going to kill myself to satisfy everybody else.
There has continued to be a lot of speculation about Bowe's weight, especially when he reportedly came into camp at 290 pounds.
Riddick enjoyed his time off after the Ferguson fight. He did that, and he put on some extra weight.
Now, will these extra pounds that he's carrying slow him down? If they do, therein becomes one of Evander's big pluses.
Absolutely nothing that we're concerned about.
Bowe dumped conditioning specialist Mackie Shilstone and is now using Chaz Jordan, Holyfield's former weight trainer, to help him get in shape. A necessary exercise, but not Bowe's favorite thing.
I like being home with my wife and children and eating filet mignon. See, but that just goes to show you that some people do what they want, others do what they must.
If I go back out and do the same thing, I get the same result.
Holyfield, formerly trained by George Benton and Lou Duva, has returned to the ring under the guidance of trainer Emanuel Stewart, hoping for a different result.
Instead of just being known as a warrior, he's going to have to be able to be a boxer.
I know that when I really get down, I'd rather fight toe-to-toe than box.
There's something about Evander psychologically that as soon as he's hit, he forgets game plans and he becomes a warrior.
And already Bowe begins to hold and hit, and they brawl in the center of the ring.
I guess what people don't realize, sometimes it take a brawl.
Evander cannot go toe-to-toe in the way that he's fought other fighters. He has to fight a technical fight, and when he do punch, he's going to have to punch explosive power.
You got to stick to a fight plan. You just can't walk in to a big building like he did, and I call Riddick Bowe a big building.
Evander can only fight with one way, and that's the way I let him fight.
I think the big issue is I'm going to fight a smart fight, and I feel that I will.
I think there's an old cliche that it's difficult, at the very least, to teach an old dog new tricks.
If you don't ever get the one to challenge you and bring out the best, you'll never know what your best is.
In the last year, Riddick Bowe has defended his title against two pathetic opponents. Michael Dokes lasted only 2 minutes and 19 seconds, and Jesse Ferguson not much longer. How ready is Bowe to face a real challenger again?
Everything he did that was effective, he'll do better this time. He'll be a little bigger. His boxing will be a lot better.
Bowe can flat out fight. We still are limited in our knowledge of him because he hasn't really fought top-class opponents yet outside of Evander.
Well, I guess Muhammad Ali had his Joe Frazier, his Ken Norton, and so forth. I think Evander Holyfield gives me the same type of, competition.
Question is, Riddick Bowe, does he want to keep it as badly as Evander Holyfield wants it back?
Will Bowe repeat his spectacular performance, or will Holyfield exact revenge and regain the title? The answers to some of these questions will be determined tonight.
Evander's got to fight a different fight. He changes his strategy, moves, delivers punches in the combinations he can, brilliant hand speed. He not only has a chance, he can win.
He'll be bigger, stronger, and better than he was before. That spells trouble for Holyfield.
My plan is to win, and if I knock him out, fine.
I can assure you and promise you right here now that Evander Holyfield will not see the 12th round.
Well, the time for asking questions is over. The hype and hoopla is behind us. The answers will come in the ring. Coming up next, the rematch of Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. Repeat or revenge. And right now, let's send you back downstairs ringside to Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy.
Well, thank you, James. Here at ringside, everybody's getting fired up for this, I'll tell you that. And this is a packed crowd, and they're anticipating a great fight. Gil, much has been made about the weights. Both fighters coming in at more than 10 pounds heavier than they were for their first fight a year ago. But it strikes me that this is maybe much ado about nothing. Once you're up to 200 pounds, unless there's some huge increase in weight, it really shouldn't make much difference.
Well, Tim, they have two of the best trainers in the world, in Emanuel Stewart and Eddie Futch. Believe me, both of these fighters are going to come in excellent condition. It's just insignificant.
I think so, too. And that leaves us to the question mark for Evander being, will he stick to the strategy that he knows he needs to do to employ against Riddick Bowe tonight in order to have a different result than the last time?
Well, Tim, I think the different result is going to depend on whether or not Evander can hurt Riddick Bowe with any punches to get his respect, and number two, to move him when he hits him. What happened in the last fight, every time Evander Holyfield landed a solid punch, he didn't move Riddick Bowe at all, and Bowe was able to counter right back and take the play back away from him.
Well, and I think we saw a lot of examples of that through all of that first fight, except perhaps in the 10th round, which was a terrific round between two heavyweights. We're going to take you back to that much talked about round. It was certainly the best round of the fight for Evander Holyfield, although the result still went to Riddick Bowe. But it was exciting boxing action. Let's go back and listen to the call by HBO's Jim Lampley.
There, but the referee, despite a number of those low blows, has not taken a point away from Riddick Bowe as yet.
Round 10 begins. If they complete this round, Riddick Bowe will have gone just as far as he's ever gone before in a professional prize fight.
Riddick Bowe is able to land 3 good combinations now. Evander Holyfield can have his first visit to the canvas. He's been a gentleman all this time. He can't understand someone being so dirty.
So you see Holyfield going down in this round, and Bowe stuns him with an uppercut, and just like that, the champion struggles to stay on his feet. What a heart by Holyfield.
He's going to stay on his feet.
He's hanging in there. Gets away from a right hand, blocks another one. Bowe throwing and throwing, now goes to the body. Holyfield somehow standing up, but staying too close to Bowe. Joe Cortez watching. Champion gets the benefit of the doubt.
That was a right uppercut that started that sequence.
Now Bowe's got to start all over again.
And Holyfield weathers the storm and comes back throwing.
If Bowe starts over all over again, he can do it all over again.
Let's see if he has the patience. Evander Holyfield's incredible powers of recovery once again on display. Remember how he came back from the knockdown against Cooper and threw one of the great left hooks you've ever seen about 30 seconds later?
At that time, Evander could see. This time, Evander Holyfield has no vision at all. That left jab has been the most devastating thing in his life. Bowe is only resting from all of those punches he threw.
And Holyfield goes back to the right-hand lead. It's been the only weapon which has been consistently good to him tonight.
Don't rest. Rest with your jab. Bowe should be taking that kind of advice.
Look at Holyfield. What a warrior. Reversing the tide of the battle. The champion now has Bowe wobbling. And he lands the right hand. Everybody in the Thomas and Mack Center on their feet.
It doesn't bother Bowe because he knows he was only resting at that point. Evander Holyfield has got a heart.
If he weighs 205, his heart weighs about 204.
This is an amazing show, guys. I don't think he can win the fight at this rate. But just to have recovered from that beating is astonishing, I think, to most of us at ringside.
If he can, Bowe goes right back to the left jab, start all over. Forget he's knocked this guy almost out. Go back to the left jab, start everything off. It can all happen again.
This round should be greeted with a standing ovation at the end. You've seen the best of both men. A right hand by Holyfield. And another. Round 10 continues after the bell.
Well, it was an exciting round of action. I think Holyfield's heart's never been questioned. We saw a great example of it there. Bowe dominated the early rounds, but Holyfield did all he could do. The fact remains what you said earlier. He didn't move Riddick Bowe.
Well, that's right, Tim. They're going to try a different strategy this fight. The last fight in the first round, Holyfield won it because he outboxed Riddick Bowe. Since then, he's changed trainers, and Emmanuel Stewart told me, he said, this guy's got a great pair of legs, but he never used them enough, so you can expect a lot of movement from Evander Holyfield tonight. And also, Evander told us, he says, you know, when you box a guy and you land a clean punch, you hurt him more than when you're at war with him.
Well, I think that's an interesting perspective on his part, and he sounds like he feels that Emmanuel can help him with some of the mechanics for this fight. Talking to Emmanuel Stewart yesterday, he gave us a very good physical impression, I won't attempt it, of how Holyfield's balance has been wrong. He's been pitched too far forward, and it's something that they've been working on. My question to you is, can a trainer with a guy who's been boxing as long as Emmanuel Stewart literally work and have some result with those kind of mechanics?
Well, Tim, you know, he said that Evander had too much weight on his left foot, and it left him vulnerable all the time. He couldn't move out of the way of punches. He said he's changed his balance, but again, as you mentioned, Evander's had a long career. That remains to be seen.
Well, I think what also remains to be seen is something we touched on earlier, is that the emotions of a fight and a crowd and the atmosphere and what's at stake can usually turn any man's strategy into mush. He reacts instinctively, and I always remember your great stories about Jerry Quarry, a fine heavyweight that you handled, who you would work so hard on in the gym, but he came out and did things differently at the ring.
Tim had all the ability in the world. We'd work sometimes for a month. I want you to move to the right, move to the right. Bang, the bell would ring, it'd move right to the left. He always wanted to prove that he was better than the other guy. If the guy was a slugger, he'd slug with him. If the guy was a boxer, he'd box with him. It was tough, but Jerry had all the ability in the world.
Well, that's exactly what even Evander said about himself in this first outing. He said, you know, I know that I tried very hard to go out and knock out Riddick Bowe because that's what people wanted of me. They hadn't really given me the credit I felt I deserved. I knew I needed to knock out Riddick Bowe to prove that I was a great heavyweight champion and be accepted by the fans and the media. So therefore, again, you're worried about falling back into the instincts or letting emotions overtake you.
Well, he mentioned that he is a completely changed guy now. He's going to stick to his plan. He doesn't give a darn about the crowd. All he wants is his hand raised when the fight's over. And, you know, he's a guy that really concentrates and studies his boxing pretty well, Tim. So I think he may really try to do it this time.
Well, it'll be really interesting, and I think you've said we'll know kind of in the first round or two whether or not he is able to do that. We're now looking at a live shot of him in his locker room here, very nearby the outdoor stadium at Caesars Palace. And Evander Holyfield, of course, being handled by Emmanuel Stewart, has been a little bit delayed here preparing in his warm-up procedure because Stewart, of course, was in the corner of Thomas Hearns in the preceding fight. So Stewart had to go back and get organized with his heavyweight, his new heavyweight, Evander Holyfield, and Holyfield waiting patiently for Stewart to return to the locker room before beginning this last-minute warm-up. And Gil, again, as a trainer, I've often, over the years you and I have done so many fights together, you immediately notice whether or not a fighter has properly warmed up in the locker room before entering the ring. Perhaps you can expand on the importance of that.
Well, Tim, they always talk about catching a fighter cold, and that's what they mean by catching a guy cold. If you nail a guy in the first round, if he hasn't warmed up properly, he's liable to go. Remember, we had a guy by the name of Tommy Morrison that got nailed in the first round just 2 weeks ago. But I always warmed my guys up, made them break a sweat, and then brought them into the ring. Now, they're going to come in here tonight, and it's cold here tonight. I hope that these guys both come out bundled up and sweaty.
Well, in the Riddick Bowe dressing room, you can see he's doing exactly the same thing for exactly the same reasons. And you alluded to the cold temperatures at ringside. Our thermometers are showing about 60 degrees. That's only because of all of the lights surrounding the ring for television reasons and for the benefit of the crowd here. But once you move away from this ring area, not very far, 10 to 15 feet, it's about 15 degrees cooler here in Las Vegas, probably down under 50 degrees. So I guess the importance of this warm-up is almost double.
You can just take a look at Riddick Bowe. He's really broken the sweat, Tim. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out in the first round and really try to get Evander out of there early.
Now, we've talked about Holyfield's motivation and his strategy. What about Riddick Bowe? What does he have to prove, if anything, tonight in terms of performance? He's the champion who won this from Holyfield.
He doesn't have to prove anything, Tim, but he's so proud. He has so much ability, and he's got a great heart. He proved that in the first Holyfield fight, and he's proud to be champion, and he said he would die rather than lose the fight.
Well, there's another gorgeous shot from the Family Channel blimp of Caesars Palace. In the foreground there, the blue lights you see over the city of Las Vegas. A live shot from the blimp. It's absolutely gorgeous tonight, looking down the Las Vegas Strip. And here at ringside, we await the main event of our TVKO coverage tonight. Riddick Bowe defending his title against Evander Holyfield, a man from whom he took it a year ago. He's defended it twice since then and gone only 3 rounds. That's been a subject of some discussion. Is that enough to prepare for a much stronger opponent in Holyfield? Does it matter that he had 2 easy ones against Dokes and Jesse Ferguson?
Well, you know, Tim, he didn't get hit in either one of those fights, but Eddie Futch, his great trainer, said, look, we do things in the gym. He did have to have these fights, so that means he trained for the fights, and he's an improving fighter. He gets better every time out. He says he's not worried at all about the fact that Riddick hasn't really fought anybody since he fought Evander Holyfield last. He said he learns in the gym, he's getting better all the time, and we're going to see even a better Riddick Bowe tonight.
Eddie Futch was almost insulted about the weight discussion, too, because he said, I've never brought a fighter into the ring who wasn't properly trained. 246 pounds for Riddick Bowe, while he does look a little soft around the midsection, is a weight that really is probably an optimum weight for a man his size and his age.
Well, Tim, you know, Eddie Futch said he's still growing, but he didn't mean taller, Tim. he meant that he's maturing. Some of the fat is turning into muscle, so he's becoming more formidable all the time.
Well, he went up, of course, from 235 a year ago. That was his weight against Holyfield. Evander Holyfield, on the other hand, at 217 for this bout. He was 205 last time, so a 12-pound gain, but a designed gain for him. He wanted to be stronger. But interestingly, when he weighed in, because the weights really are unofficial for heavyweight bouts, there's no limit they have to make, of course. He had shoes on, he had warm-up trousers on, and he was not, I don't think, too concerned about what the scales actually read. He admitted to us afterwards he was probably closer to 212 or 213.
You see, Tim, you can see your inexperience at these weigh-ins. He also had a hat on.
That's right.
We don't know what he had under the hat. He may be 200 pounds.
That's right. He could have had a heavy weight there under that baseball hat. You're right, Gil. But again, the point being that the weight should not be so much of a factor in this bout, because you've got 2 guys that are so well trained, and if those weights work for them, that's how you want them anyway. Again, referring to your checkered career in the boxing business as a manager and trainer, I recall you often talking about Emil Griffith, who frequently went up against bigger opponents, stepping up in divisions, and you never wanted him to put weight on to meet those guys.
Well, absolutely not. You know, when he was the welterweight champion of the world, that's when there was 8 weight classes. Dick Tiger was the middleweight champion. My guy was usually around 147 pounds. Tiger weighed 160 for the fight. My guy, after a big breakfast, weighed 150 pounds. I never wanted him to put on inefficient weight. I wanted to take advantage of his speed and his boxing ability, and he won the middleweight championship of the world while he was the welterweight champion.
Right, so it's really what you want is your man at his optimum weight. Don't worry so much about whether he's big enough to take on a guy.
That's absolutely right.
Well, that's the case here tonight. That's how the Holyfield people feel. Well, since we're still waiting for the fighters to come into the ring, we're going to take you back to round 11 of their fight a year ago, and you'll see Riddick Bowe start to regain the dominance.
He is some thoroughbred.
4 times in his career, Evander Holyfield has gone 12 rounds or further. Riddick Bowe now steps into unknown territory for him in round number 11. Neither fighter totally exhausted yet. Oh, Holyfield in serious trouble now.
Bowe has got to be cool trying to finish him, though.
There's the uppercut again. The mouthpiece is out of Holyfield's mouth, and he's going to go down. And Holyfield gets up very early in the count.
6, 7, 8.
Second time in his career he's been knocked down. First time he has actually gone to the canvas. It could be all over for Evander Holyfield's heavyweight championship reign. He is not fighting back and seems to have no will to do so. To get out of this round would seem like a miracle.
Bowe is not the finisher, but he sure is a puncher. And when you're a clean finisher, it takes years to know how to do it.
All right, stop punching.
Holyfield is going for the dance now.
Champion begins to bounce again. And once again, just as was the case in round 10, Holyfield unbelievably tries to seize the initiative.
It seems Bowe's right uppercut is the one, a little off the short uppercut does more damage than anything he's doing.
Yeah, that's the punch which has badly hurt Holyfield twice.
Holyfield is elusive. He can survive. It's his advantage that the boxing does not continue. Stay close as long as you can. You must know people don't pay you millions of dollars for nothing. Once the tide gets tough, you got to fight anyway. When it turns against you, keep fighting.
Right hand lead by Holyfield brought his supporters in the crowd out of their seats again. But Holyfield is spent, it seems now. His handlers call him the best conditioned athlete in the world. He'll have to be to make it out of this.
This is a prime example of managing and training too many fighters at one time. You get into the corner and you just don't know what instruction to give what guy.
Holyfield still punching, still throwing the left hook inside and the right hand lead. Uppercut by Holyfield. Blood spouting from the champion's mouth. His eyes almost completely shut. But he will not take KO for an answer in round number 11.
Well, that was the end of round 11 from the first fight a year ago, in which, of course, Riddick Bowe was the victor. Now, there's the usual gamesmanship. I shouldn't say the usual, but it's not uncommon. But there is some serious gamesmanship going on that is adding to the delay we've had here in getting this going. This is a live shot of Evander Holyfield. We showed you earlier, warming up in his locker room, and this is a live shot. He's still keeping that sweat up, and he'll describe the importance of that prior to a big fight. Now, he is apparently concerned that Riddick Bowe is not ready to come out and will attempt to make Holyfield wait out here. And remember, it is cold. The fighters don't want to be standing out here, and because Bowe's the champion, he'll enter last, and Holyfield wants to make sure that Bowe is actually gloved and ready to come out. Holyfield's willing to come ahead of him. He simply wants to make sure that Bowe immediately follows. Well, he has sent his new associate, Hammer, the rock and roll rap star, over to Bowe's dressing room to have a look at Bowe to make sure that Bowe is indeed ready to come in once Holyfield makes his entrance. And Evander, we are told, is refusing to leave his locker room until he knows that Bowe is ready to leave his. And now we're in the Bowe locker room, and you can see he's got a wool cap on. Now, the cold temperatures may be a part of that reason, looking very relaxed, and still having his gloves applied here, the taping by Eddie Futch, his trainer. And so Holyfield actually has probably made a good decision, Gil, because it turns out that Bowe is not yet ready to come.
Well, they must have a pretty good spy in Holyfield's dressing room, because he certainly did make a good decision. If he stood out here in this cold ring for 10 minutes or so, he certainly would cool down. And Bowe and Holyfield should both be ready. It should be up to the commission to make them come out.
Well, it looks like Bowe has now finished the gloving process. You saw the final taping by trainer Eddie Futch, and Riddick Bowe now appears ready to come out, but the Holyfield people will not release Evander from his locker room until they know for sure that Riddick Bowe will be ready to follow in the time-honored tradition of the champion coming in second. And of course, ring entrances for major heavyweight bouts and other championship bouts are a big part of the spectacle. Both fighters expect it, but Holyfield wisely saying, I'm not going to go and stand around out there and wait for Bowe to show up.
Well, you know, that's always been an old trick, Tim. To let the other guy stand in the ring, let him cool off, let him worry, and you come out 4 or 5 minutes later. But I think it's a trick that it just doesn't have any class.
Well, I think you're right, and I think you made a good point about the commission here having to be in a position to enforce the fact that both fighters should be ready, and they should follow the commission instructions. Holyfield has been asked to start his entrance, but he has not made a move as yet. He's just outside of his locker room and wanting to be assured that Riddick Bowe is going to be following him forthwith. Now it does appear that they're getting ready to move Evander Holyfield from that area, but we have not seen him yet appear in the entrance to the stadium. And now it looks like he's starting to come forward. So Evander Holyfield attempting to become the fourth former champion. We mentioned Patterson and Ali. Witherspoon, of course, had one of the titles at the time that he came back to beat Tony Tubbs, having lost the heavyweight championship. But Larry Holmes was the champion at that time. It was considered to be the people's champion. But of course, in the Ali and Patterson time, they were the only heavyweight champions. And Ali did it twice, coming back to regain his crown after losing it. Floyd Patterson, of course, in that memorable victory over Johansson. Evander Holyfield making his way toward ringside.
And he looks very, very calm and very cool, Tim, Evander Holyfield. He seems to be under control. I don't think that Bowe's tactics bothered him too much at all. And I think he's going to be ready once he steps into that ring.
Those 12 rounds were against Alex Stewart, and a fight in which Holyfield, I thought, was somewhat unduly criticized, undeservedly so, for not having a better performance than he gave. But I thought he fought a fight that was exactly what he wanted to do. He did what he needed to do to win, Gil, and to prepare for this chance again against Riddick Bowe. And he did, I thought, mechanically and strategically, he was excellent against Stewart.
I thought he fought a very, very good fight too, Tim. You have to remember that Alex Stewart, after the first couple of rounds, was a non-combatant. He was worried about getting hit rather than hitting Holyfield. And it's very difficult to fight a guy that fights that way and just trying to stay the distance. So I thought Holyfield fought under control and did what he said he's going to do in this fight. Won every round and didn't worry about pleasing the crowd.
Evander Holyfield, who's often been described as a great warrior, and to some extent that hurt him in the last fight against Riddick Bowe, because he was so determined to show that he was more than just a warrior, but a man who could knock out the bigger Riddick Bowe. He's led in by Hammer and the rest of the Holyfield entourage. Emmanuel Stewart comes through the rings in his gold jacket. And here comes Evander Holyfield, the former heavyweight champion, the challenger tonight. Weigh-in day, he appeared to us to be a little bit edgy, a little bit tense. Facing these proceedings right now, he appears to be quite relaxed and ready to go.
Well, Tim, again, we're approaching the most exciting moment in sports, in my opinion, the heavyweight championship of the world. When the announcer says that, I get goosebumps.
Well, that's what brings out 16,000 people live, and of course millions watching around the world on our telecast. And here comes the champion, Riddick Bowe. It is a celebrity-studded audience here, as always, for these big fights, and a heavyweight championship is the biggest of them all. He's making his second defense of the IBF crown, defeating Michael Dokes and Jesse Ferguson. We mentioned only 3 rounds of boxing required for Bowe in those 2 fights.
But again, Tim, as Eddie Fudd just pointed out, even though they were fights that were insignificant, he still trained just as hard, learned a lot in the gym, and is improving all the time. I know when I managed fighters, especially Emil Griffith, I wouldn't care what they thought of the opponent. He was in as good shape for a guy that was ranked number 20 as he was for a guy that was champion of the world. And that's the way they should be.
Riddick Bowe, people forget, was an outstanding amateur before he got into the pro ranks. He was the '88 Olympic silver medalist, a bronze medalist in the Pan Am Games, losing to the man we saw earlier tonight, Jorge Luis Gonzalez. But prior to that, the 1985 junior world champion and the junior Olympic champion 2 years running, and a 4-time New York Golden Glove champion. And that is the toughest Golden Gloves there is in this country.
And you know, Tim, but even after winning all those amateur titles, most of the big-time promoters were not too anxious to sign a Riddick Bowe, because the word about was that he was a playboy and he didn't take too good a punch. But Rock Newman had faith in him, invested his own money, and this is the result. So Rock Newman deserves a lot of credit.
He does indeed. He was the guy who went with Bowe, and it's turned out well for both of them. Riddick Bowe with victories over the likes of Art Tucker, Pinklin Thomas, Bert Cooper, Tony Tubbs en route to his title victory over Evander Holyfield. And his last outing was last May, the second-round knockout of Jesse Ferguson. Building a beautiful home down in Fort Washington, Maryland for his wife and 3 children. Riddick, Edisha, and Brenda Joyce, the youngest, a 3-year-old girl. He loves families. He comes from a large one. 11 brothers and sisters, Riddick Bowe, from the Brownsville area of Brooklyn. And one thing about Riddick, when you talk to him, almost always he'll say, not bad for a kid from Brownsville. He knows that he's come out of a very, very tough neighborhood in a tough city, and he's proud of his accomplishments, and he is happy to be a role model.
And Tim, he has matured so much in those years when he was an amateur and having all those problems with Gonzalez. He was a brash young guy then. I don't blame Gonzalez for getting angry at him, but now he has matured so much. He's really become a man, and I think a lot of that has to do with Eddie Futch. Eddie Futch has done a remarkable job with this man, this fighter.
So Riddick Bowe has arrived in the ring. Evander Holyfield did not have to wait unduly. And let's go back to the weigh-in that took place on Thursday here at Caesars Palace.
The challenger, the former champion, Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield weighs in at 217 pounds. Next up on the scales, the man who holds the WBA and IBF World Championships, Riddick Bowe.
246.
He weighs in at 246 pounds.
Well, Riddick Bowe looked like he was doing an underwear commercial at the weigh-in. He came in at 246, and we mentioned earlier that Holyfield was wearing shoes and a warm-up pants and a hat and who knows what under it, but he did acknowledge afterwards that he probably weighed closer to 212 or 213. And there is the tail of the tape. You see the comparison in the last fight, which was a year ago. We're in the month of November now, of course. 205 for Holyfield in that one, 217 with that extra gear on. 235 a year ago for Bowe. He's now in at 246, and we did comment that he is a little soft around the middle. You'll see that. But as Eddie Futch says, not concerned at all about that. He feels that this is a comfortable weight, and most importantly, as you said, he's in shape. He is in boxing shape.
Let's take a look at the tail of the tape, Tim. Excuse me, the punch stat, Tim. And you can see that Riddick Bowe landed 51% and Holyfield landed 50%. Bowe was the busier fighter and threw the harder punches, in my opinion. And again, the jabs, Bowe with a 52%, Holyfield with only 39%, which he hopes to change in this fight. And Bowe threw a lot more jabs than Holyfield did in the last fight.
Well, the rules will be under the International Boxing Federation. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. What that means is that it's left to the discretion of the referee. A fighter could be knocked down 4 or 5 times in a single round. The fight would not be stopped. It's up to the referee to make that decision. And if a butt occurs, an accidental butt occurs after the 6th round, they would go to the scorecards to declare the winner. And now let's go up to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Promotions, Main Events Monitor, and the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the World Boxing Association, and the International Boxing Federation. The officials for Nevada are Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Luther Mack, Bruce Lane, and Dr. James Nave. Executive Director Mark Ratner. The 3 physicians in attendance at ringside, Dr. Flip Romansky, Dr. James Wishgame, and Dr. Robert Voy. Timekeeper Mike Latella. Counting for the knockdown seconds, James Cavan. Representing the IBF as supervisor is its president, Robert W. Lee Sr. And here for the WBA as supervisor ringside, Dr. Elias Cordova Jr. The scoring for this bout will be done on a 10-point must system, and the 3 judges assigned at ringside will be Jerry Roth, Chuck Jampa, and Patricia Jarman. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, working for the 71st time in a world title bout, referee Mills Lane. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the site where legends are made, Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks with black trim and weighing 217 pounds. This 1984 Olympic medalist has a professional record of 29-1 with 22 KOs. He is a former 2-time undisputed world champion in 2 different divisions. Ladies and gentlemen, from Atlanta, Georgia, the challenger and former heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with red trim and weighing in at 246 pounds. He's also an Olympic medalist, winning super heavyweight silver in 1988. Since turning professional, his record is a perfect 34-0, 29 by knockout victory. And tonight, he defends his title for the 3rd time. Ladies and gentlemen, from Brooklyn, New York, presenting the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe!
Okay, now, Eddie, I want to tell you, if he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low. That's going to be all right. Fair enough? All right, now, this is for the championship of the world. We've only gone through all the instructions one time. I expect a tough, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Any questions from the challenger? No. Any questions from the champion? Let's get it on.
The inimitable Mills Lane from Reno, Nevada, the biggest little referee in the business. This guy runs the show despite his small stature, and the fighters almost unanimously respect him. Riddick Bowe, 34-0, coming in at 246. Evander Holyfield at 217, as we said. He's 30 years of age. Bowe is 26, and Bowe goes right after him. Holyfield slipped a little bit.
But we had mentioned that Bowe really had warmed up in the locker, and he lands a big right hand right off the bat. And they took Holyfield's robe off about 2 minutes before the introduction, so he's been standing there in the cold weather without moving around.
It is a little more than 60 degrees now under the lights, colder where the spectators are, of course. An usually cold evening here in Las Vegas.
Well, now we have to take a good look and see if Holyfield follows his strategy. What he should be doing is moving side to side and snapping a good left jab.
Well, Bowe tempted him to get into a slugfest by coming out wailing away in the opening seconds of the fight.
We had mentioned, Tim, that Holyfield has to hurt Bowe with a punch, or he has to be able, at least be able to move him with his punches. But another way that Holyfield could win this fight if he's able to out-jab Bowe and bust him up in the process.
Good combination by Holyfield. And he got in close there, smothering the right hand of Bowe. Short with the right hand on the combination.
Well, Holyfield is surprisingly, he's not really moving side to side, moving in one direction or standing right in front of Riddick Bowe.
He landed a good counter left in the last exchange. Bowe blocked those last two punches. Fires back with a jab to the eye of Holyfield. Under a minute we go in round one, scheduled for 12. Heavyweight championship of the world. Counter left from Bowe after the lead from Holyfield landed. Riddick Bowe, 246, still has excellent hand speed. Very fast for a big man.
That's the key to Riddick Bowe, that those fast hands belies the fact that he's such a big, heavy guy.
Landed the jab. Holyfield jab back. Good right hand inside from Holyfield.
But Holyfield didn't move him, and Bowe punched right back. That's the problem.
Final seconds of the first round. A look from the blimp down at Caesar's Palace on the Las Vegas Strip. A cool evening in Las Vegas. Hot times in the ring. We're in the corner of Riddick Bowe.
You want to start setting your man up with the jab. Double the jab. He's counting on every jab you throw. Okay. Double your jab. Feint and stick. Either feint and stick or double the jab. And keep the try to keep the pressure on it. Okay.
Your time is beautiful. Just keep working the rhythm. And when you get through with your punches, drop to the inside. You understand? Push him. Get your leverage where you can use that strength. Push the big ball off balance. Don't put too much front. No, you don't want to.
Let's go back into that round and see the combination by Bowe. And he'll throw that uppercut.
Well, Bowe just looked like such a big, imposing man in there, Tim. Most of the punches was slipped off. Holyfield blocked them. I thought both fighters landed a couple of clean punches, but that was about all in that round. I was surprised at the punch stack.
You heard the instructions in the corner, and you heard Evander Holyfield say, don't put too much of that grease, meaning the Vaseline, around his eyes. And of course, there's lots of tension and excitement in the corners, and the cooler corners can really do a big job for their fighters in a big fight. They've got to be really on top of things.
I think the key was that Emmanuel Stewart told Holyfield to double up his jab. And that's what I would have him doing with a bigger man. He has to step in and double up that jab. Try to move Bowe a little bit off balance. Again, he's throwing one jab at a time. I'm waiting for him to try to do what Emmanuel Stewart's told him to do.
And Futcha had the same counsel for Riddick Bowe, telling him to double up on the jab. Bowe rocking Holyfield because he was off balance, and Holyfield regains his balance. And no serious harm done. And Mills Lane warning Bowe for grabbing Holyfield and pitching him around. Round two scheduled for 12.
Both fighters, in my opinion, being extremely cautious, Tim. There's that double jab that Emmanuel Stewart wants Holyfield to use. And the reason that Emmanuel wants him to double up the jab, because when he throws one jab, Holyfield counters it. But if he throws that second jab right behind it, he beats Bowe to the punch. There's a triple jab. And again, Bowe didn't counter that time. When he throws the one jab, that Bowe is dangerous with those counters.
Good movement by Holyfield there as he backed away from that right hand behind the jab of Bowe. Right hand lead landed landed by Holyfield, sneaking it down the pipe, and a short left hook inside.
Again, we have to worry. There's that combination by Bowe. Bowe has that tremendous right-hand uppercut inside, which we know that Holyfield is aware of because he told us so.
Bowe just missing the right hand. Holyfield basically still in front of Bowe. Not as much in and out as Emanuel Stewart would like to see. From side to side. That's the end of round 2. And we're in the Bowe corner.
Okay. Be patient. Just keep that jab working. Keep that jab working. Keep sliding in. Feint the jab once in a while instead before you throw it. See? Feint a lot. He's a little tight. He'll react.
Break on off, okay? Because you get him tired, then you're going to turn it on going down the stretch, okay? Okay. All right, you're looking good, fighting a perfect fight.
Vaseline, Manuel.
No, he don't need too much. He don't like too much Vaseline. He don't.
The jab. Right hand, come back to the left hook. Keep your hands up. He'll start leading with right hands now.
Every time you shoot that right hand, roll the counter, but you're looking beautiful. Hey!
Well, it is an absolute treat to listen to these two great trainers working in the corner. Gil, you are a great trainer. You were of many outstanding fighters. I know you enjoy being able to hear Emanuel Stewart and Eddie Futch playing their own little match against each other.
Well, Emanuel Stewart is playing mind games with Evander. He's telling him, you're looking beautiful, you're looking beautiful. You're gonna come on down the stretch, and Eddie Futch giving Riddick Bowe good advice. He said, keep using that jab, be patient, a lot of feinting, and keep snapping that jab. And that's what I thought won the last round for Riddick Bowe. I thought he just out-jabbed Evander Holyfield in that last round.
Mills Lane warning the fighter to watch their heads.
Evander Holyfield has to pay attention to Emanuel Stewart. He can't throw that one jab out there. He's in against the bigger man. He has to move in and double up his jab.
And Bowe with two sharp jabs of his. And a good counter to the right hand from Holyfield. And the Bowe jab starting to show some effect here in round 3.
Bowe almost pulled the trigger that time, but held it back.
Holyfield ducking under the overhand right from Bowe. But Bowe comes back with a combination. A good counter back from Holyfield on the right hand.
And the thing that's surprising me about Evander Holyfield, he's not going side to side. He's going one way.
And he just landed another combination, walking right in.
But he did not move Riddick Bowe with the punches. Never mind hurting him, he doesn't move him at all. Bowe has those feet planted, and he can nail you at any time.
That was what was so impressive in the first fight, was that Bowe just stayed in position to fire back in every exchange. Never took a step backward.
And Bowe is starting to take liberties with that right hand.
Short left hook lead landed by Holyfield. Scoring some points in this round, but as Gil points out, they're not able to move Bowe in any way so far.
And Bowe,
30 seconds we go.
And Bowe does move him, and he snaps that jab or throws these punches.
Seconds of round 3. Right hand down the pipe from Bowe. That landed. And the bell sounds, ending round 3. We're live from Caesar's Palace on TVKO.
Beginning to slow
in
down
the corner
now.
of Riddick Bowe.
Keep that stick going. Keep that stick going. When you get him near the ropes, I'm going to use the hook and cross.
This is back in round 3, and Holyfield landing a left hand, and Bowe complaining about being thumbed. Now, these are attached thumb gloves, and they are supposed to be able to prevent the effect of that.
But Tim, sometimes the glove, without thumbing him, scrapes across the eye. And Tim, it's worse to get thumbed like that than it is to get hit with a solid right hand. Can throw you all off balance. Just an unfortunate thing to happen in a fight.
Later in that round, you saw Bowe with his good work inside, and that uppercut that was so effective in the first fight in evidence again. This is round number 4.
Also the big right hand by Bowe right at the end of the last round.
Holyfield scoring with 2 left hooks, but Bowe fires right back and scores a good combination that backed up Holyfield.
It's that right hand uppercut on the inside, Tim, that really takes Holyfield apart. And you know, now Holyfield is throwing 2 and 3 jabs, but nothing on him. He has to snap that jab.
Lands a good right hand behind the last jab. And another good right hand from Holyfield.
But Tim, if you notice, Bowe threw a right hand counter right back because, again, he wasn't moved.
He's able to take those shots, and that's the question of the good big man against the good little man.
And there's that counter by Bowe again.
Good right hand, and Bowe working inside here. Lands 2 more shots. Those short blows inside. Very effective for such a big, long-arm man.
Well, Holyfield is fighting the wrong fight now. He can't fight Bowe on the inside. That's for sure. There's that uppercut. I think that's the best punch in Bowe's arsenal, is that short right uppercut on the inside.
Well, and Gilly knows that Holyfield will lean into it when he gets this close. So it's there. It's a target to be hit. Holyfield landed an uppercut of his own.
There's so much for Holyfield's fight plan, Tim. He's back to being a warrior again.
Solid shot to the body from Bowe. Right hand from Holyfield. That landed. Comes back with a short left. But again, he can't make Bowe go anywhere. Bowe nails him to the belly. We're in the 4th round, scheduled for 12. Fighters landing on the infighting here. And Holyfield staying right there and banging with Bowe. And he lands a good combination at the bell. The bell is sounding and they're still punching. Wild activity at the bell. In fact, the timekeeper kept pounding away on the bell, and the fighters kept pounding on each other. And there is a cut on the left eyelid of Riddick Bowe and one high between the eyes.
The one on the eyelid, Tim, is a small cut, but it's in a dangerous place because it's in the eye socket. It's underneath the eyebrow.
And there's head contact by Bowe there. This is right at the end of the round. The bell sounded and they kept firing away. The handler's coming in to break them up. But damage has been done to Riddick Bowe in that final exchange. We'll keep a close eye on the cut on the eyelid particularly. round 5.
Again, Tim, you know, Holyfield should be doubling up that jab to try to work on that cut because it's in the eye socket, which is a very, very dangerous place. If that busts wide open, he'll have to stop this fight. It just seems to me that when Holyfield jabs, he just doesn't concentrate on his jab and snap it enough. He just pushes it out, lays it out there. Now he's doubling up that jab. It's still without much power, and Bowe is bleeding right between the eyes and over his left eye.
Yeah, the cut between his eyes is just above the bridge of his nose, near the corner of his right eyebrow. And that's the one that's throwing the most blood at the moment. But the more dangerous one, as you pointed out, is on his left eyelid.
And again, this round, Evander Holyfield is out-jabbing Riddick Bowe, doubling up that jab, using his jab. He sees the target, and he's aiming for it.
They had only 19 jabs in the first round, and that's when you heard Emmanuel Stewart telling him he had to jab more, and he's done that. Good left from Holyfield.
And look at the counters from Riddick Bowe. Again, Holyfield landed the good left, but left himself wide open. And Holyfield Bowe made him pay. This is the way Holyfield should fight the entire fight. Use that left jab, side to side, back in front of him. Use the jab again.
Short with the right hand was Holyfield. Under a minute to go, round 5. Riddick Bowe soon be tasting his own blood for the first time in any serious way since he's been a professional in 34 fights.
1-2 by Holyfield, good left hook. And you know, Riddick Bowe, Tim, he always swelled in fights, but never cut. It's amazing. Usually if a guy swells up, he's ripe to be busted open, but not Riddick Bowe. But he always swelled up in fights, so his eyes always had swellings after the fight.
Right hand by Holyfield, and that's the first time he was able to move Bowe back. Bowe is backing up. Another right, a left hand from Holyfield.
And Bowe is wobbling, Tim.
Yes, he is.
He's in trouble.
Holyfield pressing the advantage now, backs Bowe to the ropes.
Another right hand.
And Bowe looks hurt and tired. The champion in difficulty at the end of round 5.
Let me see that. I got it, Doc. Give me a shot. I just want to see it. Yeah, that side, right here. Get your hands up. Get your hands up and move. Hands up and move. Jab and move around until you just...
A good solid right hand inside off that left lead by Holyfield, and then that good left hook. That got Bowe's attention.
Tim,
there's a good right hand.
That answered our question, too. He certainly did move Bowe, hurt Bowe, and move Bowe with those punches. Riddick Bowe was wobbly at the end of that last round.
First time that he had been able to back him up.
Jab and move, okay.
And the commission officials still there on the ring apron, but now they get the stool out, and we're underway in round number 6.
Well, what had happened, Tim, they forgot to put the mouthpiece in Bowe's mouth, and he refused to go out. They gave him the time to get it back in. And now Holyfield is bouncing and dancing and using that double left jab, triple left jab, following Emmanuel Stewart's instructions.
Riddick Bowe not eager to lead here in the early part of round number 6.
A lot of feinting, a lot of moving, and no punching. I would seem to think that Evander Holyfield will want to follow up that advantage, especially by doing a paint job with that left jab, excuse me. Now, this is where Holyfield does not belong, on the inside with Riddick Bowe. This is Riddick Bowe's meat right in here.
Well, except that Holyfield's able to get his head in close to those 2 cuts on the face of Riddick Bowe.
Well, they've done a good job on the cuts, Tim. There's no more blood being exposed from Riddick Bowe's cuts.
But Bowe is going backwards now. He has been backing up in this round. First time in the fight. A good combination by Holyfield with a right hand ending it.
And Tim, we had mentioned earlier that one of the ways that Holyfield could win this fight is by busting up Riddick Bowe, and right now he's doing the job.
There's blood again from that cut high on the right eyebrow over the bridge of the nose.
And Riddick Bowe nodded to his corner. I don't know what he's nodding about. He better start doing something.
And a good sharp jab from Holyfield again lands.
He's got that target now, Tim, and it's making things a lot more effective for him. Gaining self-confidence.
That took to the chin.
He's got to move out of there. Bowe, Holyfield.
Bowe walking in with his hands up, not looking to deliver blows.
Yeah, I just really don't know what Riddick's thinking about, Tim.
I think he's lost some confidence, Gil. I think he's a little bit concerned, as he might well be, about those cuts. Now banging to the body. Uppercut from Holyfield landed. Final seconds of round 6. Good round for Holyfield. Let's go to the Bowe corner.
I got it. You got this, sir?
I'm on. Keep those combinations, the hook and cross, the hook and cross. And when you're standing in front of him, Bowe, you got to be first.
All right.
Yeah, you got to be first.
Let's take a look at Evander Holyfield in action. Here's that left hook, straight right hand, right down the pipe. Same combination, left hook, right hand.
Evander Holyfield on target. Well, let's have a look at Clance's scorecard through 6.
I have the fight dead even at the moment, Tim. I gave Holyfield a 2-point round in that 5th round because I thought he had Bowe in serious trouble.
Holyfield landed 76% of his shots in round number 6, 28 out of 37. And Bowe, although he threw 38 times according to Punchstat, he landed only 13.
Well, Bowe is coming out now doing what he should be doing, snapping a good left hand as he just did then when I mentioned it. Looks like Eddie Futch has got his attention again.
You saw them working on that cut, particularly the one that's dripping blood down the bridge of his nose. Good right hand by Holyfield. That brings Bowe firing back.
Again, there was a case where he nailed Bowe with a good right hand, but Bowe was able to keep his balance and punch right back. Tough getting it, moving that big man. And now Bowe is really dominating this round. It's early in the round, but with a good stiff left jab.
Appears to be a little swelling under the left eye of Riddick Bowe. Nothing serious right now, but they've been using the end swell right from the 1st round, probably as a preventive measure. And whoa, somebody just, there's been a parachutist, a skydiver, has just landed here at ringside. Tried to come into the ring. He hit the ring ropes, and there is chaos here at Caesar's Palace in the outdoor stadium. And time has been called as some maniac has attempted to parachute here. A skydiver or a parachutist tried to land in the ring. We are in the 7th round of this fight. He landed on the ring apron, crashed into the ropes, and now security is all over him along with the people at ringside. We can't see if anybody was injured by that. But that guy is lucky that he didn't kill himself or somebody else.
Could have killed a lot of people. There are all these electric lights around, Tim. All this electricity.
You see the parachute itself is hung up on the ringside lights. And then he swung into the ring right near the Riddick Bowe corner. A bizarre occurrence.
Please stay in your seat. We'll get this taken care of.
We've seen everything, I thought, in boxing, but this is a first. And apparently the pilots in the blimp and our cameramen up there saw this character circling around the area, but they thought he had disappeared. And of course the police and security are there with this attempt to take over the spotlight, we assume is what he was attempting to do, and he has accomplished that, but it could have been at a very high human cost.
Well, Tim.
Well, Riddick Bowe and Wise work there. They've got some warm blankets for him, covering him up. Holyfield has a towel wrapped around him in his corner.
Well, Tim, neither guy had an advantage because they both did it at the same time.
So they're both on the stools, and clearly this is a first in boxing history, and not a distinguished first. We're going to show you watch the left side of your screen where the Bowe corner's in the foreground. See the photographer's looking, and he landed on the top ring with his parachute hung up on the overhead canopy and the lights. And then he falls back into the spectators at ringside. That is a press area, of course. Still photographers and reporters in that immediate area around ringside. And security was very quick to get over there and grab a hold of this guy. But my God, what a disaster this could have been. There's a high shot of the parachute hung up on the lights. They're now pulling that down. One of the most bizarre circumstances in any sports history. I've been in this game a long time, Gil, more than 30 years now. I don't remember anything quite like this at any sports event.
Well, Tim, I have never seen anything like this in my life either. But getting back to a fight for a moment, Emmanuel Stewart just complained to Mills Lane that they're working on the cuts in Riddick Bowe's corner while all this is going on, which I think certainly gives Riddick Bowe an advantage in this situation. And Emmanuel Stewart was sharp enough to pick it up right away.
Well, I don't know that there's a rule in the book that allows for this kind of a delay that would cover that. I think it's a good point by Emmanuel Stewart, but I sure don't blame the Bowe people for using the advantage, and I don't know how you would stop them from doing so.
Tim, it's in the book under P, parachutes.
You had me thinking there for a minute, Gil. We're going to go start searching through as you were jabbing me in the ribs. But nonetheless, there is no rule to cover this circumstance. Good try by Emmanuel and good work by Eddie Futch and company to go to work on Riddick Bowe. The crowd, of course, of nearly 16,000 on its feet, watching, trying to get a glimpse of this character. And I'm loath to describe him as anything else. Whether he was hired to do it or whatever, I'm sure will be in the newspaper stories tomorrow. But nonetheless, what a ridiculously dangerous thing for anybody to attempt to do. Risking the lives, literally, of dozens, hundreds, who knows. Had he landed on the canopy itself, I mean, it's impossible to contemplate what this could have been.
Would have been a complete disaster. This is disaster enough, Tim, right now.
For somebody to do this at night, they're flying at nighttime, making this attempt in the dark. I mean, just going through the possibilities. Now we're told that this picture is about 20 minutes ago. Our camera in the Family Channel blimp saw this guy, and we're trying to alert everybody here as best they could from the blimp that this man was attempting to do this. That is like a hang glider type of parachute, it would appear. It's hard to see in the dark. And they blimp shot. This is sensational that they were able to capture this. He is flying around the area over the Caesars Palace grounds and headed toward, there you can see that's a good view as he was headed toward the stadium, the outdoor stadium here at Caesars Palace. Well, we will attempt to have somebody get word from the police and security people if this lout has any comment to make about this bizarre, dangerous attempt. We'll try and find out what we can before the end of this fight. We're unable to leave our own ringside position to get on this case, but we will try to pass on some information. We realize it's completely disturbing the flow of this championship heavyweight bout, and we want to focus on the athletes, but you cannot ignore an incident like this. Riddick Bowe appears to be calmly waiting. I'm sure both of these boxers can say to themselves, it's unlikely that anything more bizarre will occur in this bout. But, Gil, what about the length of time now and this delay affecting these two fighters?
Well, the difference, Tim, is that Riddick Bowe is sitting down and relaxing very calmly, and Evander Holyfield is still standing up.
Well, he was seated. He's obviously chosen to stand up.
Well,
perhaps he wants to not get stiff.
That could be too, Tim, but again, it's a long rest period for Riddick Bowe, and he looked to me like he was starting to run down in that round, in the fifth round, but now he's going to be back fully charged again, as will Evander Holyfield.
This incident occurred in round number 7.
The idiot that caused this fight, you dealt with, I promise you. The fighters are wrapped and staying warm. We shall resume the bout. We need a very wide area in this.
Now there you can see that is Judy Bowe, who was seated near her husband's corner, and of course the familiar Reverend Jesse Jackson comforting her. We don't know. She is expecting a child, and we are now told that she had fainted following this incident, and so we've had one hopefully just minor casualty so far, and we're not aware of any others so far, but the activity continues here behind us. It looks like somebody was injured over in that corner. Our view is not good. We're in the opposite corner from here. And so at least one person has been injured and is being attended to near ringside. And they are bringing a stretcher in behind us. That's immediately behind our ringside position. So at least one person needs medical attention. And you saw Judy Bowe being escorted away from the area by the Reverend Jesse Jackson. So we're going to have some considerable delay here in this absolutely bizarre circumstance. Well, there as well, it's the man himself who made this attempt, who apparently is going to receive the medical attention and the stretcher. When you saw him land, he hit the top strand of the ropes. It did not appear that he had hit anything prior to that, but of course we weren't watching his descent. He just suddenly appeared there at ringside. So whether he hit something above that when his parachute hung up, it's hard for us to be sure, but he clearly has injured himself. And we are naturally sympathetic with his plight, but just absolutely wild at this ridiculous attempt that could have injured others. For what purposes, we don't know, other than just to say he did it. It's ridiculous to speculate. When he hit the ropes, it did not appear that that he had really injured himself as my glance was taken over there. But what happened after that, we were unable to see.
Well, it looked to me, Tim, as if some of the spectators started to throw punches at him as he fell down onto the ground.
Did you see that?
Oh yes, I certainly did.
Yeah.
It looked like they were really doing a job on him.
Well, he landed on the ring apron. That is an area that is occupied by still photographers. He was very near the Bowe corner, so there would be some boxing people in that corner, the handlers of Riddick Bowe. And then immediately behind him, I believe that is a press row behind the first row of photographers. I believe that is also press seating in the few rows that are immediately behind the photographer area, which is right along the ring side itself. Well, we're going to show you once again the landing here. You see the fighters see it. Now he's hung up on the ropes here. He's landed literally on the top strand. Obviously he was trying to land in the ring. He's hung up. Now he's being pulled down. And this is where, all right, now we're seeing that it would appear that the injuries came from this reaction by the people there. In fact, we see one man swinging a radio. And you can see the parachutist now, the skydiver, slumped down from apparently a blow. We won't, again, speculate further on exactly how the injuries occurred, just what you can see on the screen. Now, as we have this ongoing delay, let's go to our host, James Brown.
All right, Timmy, thank you very much. And I'm standing here with Mark Ratner, who is the executive director of the Nevada Athletic Commission. And Mark, I've got to ask you this question. In all of your years, have you ever seen an occurrence like this?
Never. It's the furthest thing we would ever expect. Out of the sky, this guy, crazy man comes down.
Given the circumstances, what will be the procedure from here?
As soon as we get the injured person, whoever it is down there, out of there, the ambulance takes them out, or the paramedics, we're going to start the fight. There's a minute 10 gone in the 7th round. We'll start right from there. There'll be a minute 50 left.
So there will be no additional delay. You will pick right back up and get the action going.
Absolutely.
Now, we heard our announcers, Tim Ryan, Gil Clancy, mention that the people in Bowe's corner were trying to work and do some repair to the eye there. Is there any prohibition for that at all?
When I went over there, they stopped it. You cannot do anything. This is an official timeout. They should not be working on the eye, and if they did, we stopped them.
Okay. Well, indeed, stranger things have happened, but none stranger than this. Let's go back to Tim and Gil.
Thank you.
I took advantage of the opportunity to work on the cuts, and as Gil astutely pointed out, immediately Emmanuel Stewart in the Holyfield corner filed an objection and got them to stop.
We're almost there. If you'll find your seats, make sure you stay in them.
Well, now the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, trying to get the spectators back and calm down, is promising them that the action is going to continue.
Here at Season Palace, we shall resume. We shall resume in just a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, find your seats. Try not to press forward. I know folks down here want to be seated again. And we'll have that underway in just a few moments.
Riddick Bowe appears calm in his corner. We did see his wife Judy being escorted out. She appeared to be fine. We don't know that she was hurt in any way, although we were told that she did faint, probably from the shock of it. She was sitting apparently somewhere close, as you would expect. She would be seated near the Bowe corner, and the shock of that lunatic coming in obviously was upsetting to her and everybody else. But as far as we know, she's fine. And it is pointless to speculate from our somewhat trapped position here at ringside on how the injuries occurred to the skydiver. We will try to get some more details as the evening progresses and pass them on to you. The fight will resume, we are assured. A minute 10 gone in the 7th round was the report from Mark Ratner of the Nevada Commission.
And Tim, you know, when the lunatic landed on the ropes, Bowe's back was to him, but Holyfield saw him, and Holyfield put his chin way up in the air. It would have been even a more bizarre situation if he got hit on the chin and got knocked out.
Folks, take your time, find your seats. The seats are now back up in this area. We'll be underway in just a few moments. We appreciate your cooperation. Give a round of applause for this man who's trying back there to help us out.
Fellow fighters are being remarkably calm here, waiting for things to continue. Holyfield just pacing slowly around the ring. Bowe standing in his corner, taking some water now.
Go back to your seats.
And from what we can see, again, please appreciate that we're married to our microphone lines here at ringside, and we are down the ring from where the incident occurred. From what we can see, there were no injuries to anyone other than the skydiver himself. They may have been inflicted by spectators. We don't want to confirm that. You saw the same pictures we did from our television monitor, and it appeared that that what injuries he may have suffered came from spectators who were enraged at his attempt to land in the ring here. And he very nearly accomplished his task. I mean, he was about 6 inches away from landing in the ring. He hit the top strand of the ropes. But the possibilities of a real disaster are endless when you consider there is a canopy over this ring. There are all kinds of high electric wires. There are lights. There's a great weight that could have come down had he hit that. There are, of course, hundreds of people assembled at ringside in addition to the thousands away from the ring area. Nearly 16,000 in attendance here. So we are all very fortunate, all of us here and those looking in, that we did not witness a real serious disaster here in this heavyweight championship fight at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas.
We'll be underway in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. You cooperated very nicely.
The still photographers in that area on the far side of the ring near the Bowe corner have all reassembled in their boxing positions. They had to scramble as the guy landed literally in their laps after he fell back off the ropes.
Folks, if you'll find your seats right here, and we'll be underway in just a few minutes, please.
For them, I guess, it was the ultimate photo opportunity.
Go to where you were, be seated, and everyone will be very grateful. We'll be underway in just a moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was seriously injured except for the whatever he was that came in here.
Well, Michael Buffer is now telling the crowd, the ring announcer, that there were no serious injuries except an injury to the skydiver himself. Let's go to James Brown again. James?
All right, Timmy, thank you very much. And I'm standing by with Rock Newman, the manager of Riddick Bowe. Rock, first of all, we did hear that Judy did pass out, Riddick's wife. What's the situation with her?
Judy is pregnant, and she was overcome with emotions. This is the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. Some kind of way or the other, it seems like when we're involved in a boxing match, you can expect the unexpected.
Well, now the obvious question is, your fighter's in the ring, he's going to continue. Is he aware that anything happened to Judy?
No, he's not. He's not aware that anything happened. I'm just really disappointed because he had taken the first part of the fight. Holyfield had come back, and Riddick, just his momentum was just coming back right when all of this happened. So I'm very disappointed that this happened.
Knowing your fighter like you do, what do you think is going to have, what kind of effect on his mindset?
Well, this is a strange set of circumstances I don't think anyone has ever had to deal with before. I'm just hoping that he's able to get back in and focus. I got to run, James.
All right, back to Tim and Gil.
All right, well, we are back to boxing here in the 7th round. 110 was gone when the skydiver arrived. And again, just to reiterate that Riddick Bowe, who had suffered 2 cuts in the previous round, had them attended to during the timeout. And we'll see if that has been an aid to him or whether Holyfield will be able to reopen them, because it certainly was appearing to be a factor in the fight.
And again, Eddie Futch had Riddick Bowe reestablish himself behind a good left jab. Nice combination by Holyfield.
Yes, and it backed up Bowe again. So something that he was unable to do in the first fight, he's been able to do a couple of times here tonight, and that is back up Riddick Bowe.
That's right. In the last fight, if Holyfield landed the combination, that right hand of Bowe's would come whistling right back. There it is there.
Yep, a good counter from Bowe on that one. We've got a lot of bounce in the legs of Holyfield now. He just looks more confident. Holyfield bullying Bowe back into the ropes. We're into the final 30 seconds of round 7. A good left from Holyfield.
And a good right before that, Tim. Two good solid punches. But again, he throws the combination, and he steps straight back, and that's when Bowe is effective.
Final seconds of round number 7. So we have finally completed round 7 after the long delay with this bizarre occurrence. Skydiver attempting to land in the ring. Now this is on videotape a few minutes ago. This is Judy Bowe, and she is being taken away on the stretcher in an ambulance. As far as we know, she is all right. But remember, she is pregnant, expecting their 4th child, and the shock of what occurred at ringside, we are told that she did faint, but you saw her leaving under her own power initially, and then I think for precautionary reasons they have taken her away now in an ambulance, and so she will be well attended to. Riddick Bowe, as you heard Rock Newman indicate, doesn't know of these circumstances.
Do what? Okay, no. We're going to take this belt, baby. Take the belt back home and be at church tomorrow. That's it. Take it back.
Emmanuel Stewart saying take the belt back home.
Boys, they'll shoot you 1-2-1.
We're into round number 8. Holyfield in gold, Bowe in the white trunks.
Tim, after Holyfield had that good 5th round when he was doubling up that jab, he just seemed to back off. It looked like he found the key, but then he's just stopped again. He has to use that jab. He has to double it up.
Left hook grazed the ear of Riddick Bowe, ducked away from the full impact of it. No further blood from those cuts on the face of Riddick Bowe, one on the left eyelid, one above the eyebrow, just above the bridge of the nose.
You see, Holyfield just can't keep dancing around. He has to use that jab while he's moving. You can't just move and move and move, because Riddick Bowe is setting himself, planting his feet. He's going to land a couple of good solid punches unless he's kept a little bit off balance.
Both fighters landing at good combinations in that last exchange, and now Bowe pressing the advantage, but Holyfield gets in close.
This is the worst place for Holyfield to be inside. Eddie Futch has done a masterful job of teaching Riddick Bowe how to fight on the inside. Anytime Holyfield's inside, you can expect him to take punishment.
Lands an uppercut of his own, Holyfield, but Bowe stayed right there. No blood from the cuts. They did a good job during that long delay, Gil. What would your opinion be? Cold temperatures, good people working on it in the corner. Are they going to be able to stench the flow of that blood as a result of the long time they had?
It always takes a little time for the cut stuff to work, Tim. And they had put it on in the earlier rounds. And again, they worked on it more, and it's finally taken hold.
And now that we're just seeing some blood again, having just spoken about it, we're now seeing some blood from that cut near the bridge of his nose. A good combination from Holyfield.
Again, you see that gives Holyfield a lot more confidence when he sees that blood coming from Riddick Bowe. And you can see as soon as he saw it, he stepped right in and became a new man again.
We're in round 8, scheduled for 12. Under 30 seconds we go. Bowe again countering well, a combination landed by Holyfield, but a solid right from Riddick Bowe, and another good combination from Holyfield. Holyfield fighting with much more pep and confidence. Bowe firing back, and again they have extra blows after the bell.
Go around, baby. We put it on ahead. Go around.
In the Bowe corner, Ralph Citro working on the cuts. You can see it's that one that they spend most of their time on is the less dangerous in some ways, Gil, as you would point out. Although it does drip down, it tends to run along his nose, and the one on the eyelid has not been too bad so far.
And you can just see left hook right hand, another straight right hand. and he's moving Bowe with those punches. That's exactly what he has to do, because Bowe tries to plant himself so that he can counter right back.
Round number 9. On my scorecard, a very close fight at this point. Gil, how do you see it through 8?
I have Holyfield slightly ahead, Tim. I gave him a 10-8 round in that one round.
All right, well, that would be the difference. I've got them even. I didn't give them the 10-8, but I've got them 4 rounds apiece through 8. In the 9th.
I've been around that New York scoring where Commissioner Gordon likes you to use that extra point if a guy really has a dominant round.
Don't know that happens as frequently here in Nevada.
No, it usually doesn't, Tim, but
Bowe has got Holyfield wobbled. He landed a right that appeared to be harmless, but there was more on it than it appeared. And it rocked Holyfield back, and then Bowe tagged him with a left, and he lands a combination.
He has him in trouble now, Tim. You can see as soon as Holyfield wobbles back, I call that the duck walk, when you pull that left foot back.
Well, you can see the change in his expression, too, of his eyes, because he was very alert the last round after the long delay. Bowe has got Holyfield in some trouble here.
Let's get back. Come on, come on.
And Holyfield backing up. First time he's done that in the last 3 rounds.
You can see Riddick working behind that left jab, and that's exactly what he has to do.
Cuffing left from Bowe. And a good left jab.
Holyfield is forgetting all about a left jab now. There's no jab. And that was his most effective punch in the fight.
Bowe is finding opportunities, openings now, and making the best of them.
And again, he has Holyfield exactly where he wants him, on the inside. Look at those punches, short punches by Bowe.
Tough body shot. And Holyfield, again, as we talked at the beginning of the fight, the instincts take over, Gil. He's a warrior, and he stands and bangs in circumstances where he should not be there for Bowe to hit him.
Punch out, 2 range of 3, come on.
Making sure that Emmanuel Stewart is getting gray hair watching this, but Holyfield standing right in front of him and taking punishment.
Well, and he bends that head in there, too, as Emmanuel had shown us. And a big right to the body from Bowe.
Again, countering one of Holyfield's punches that didn't move him a bit.
Under 30 seconds in round 9. Oh, Bowe went for the home run there, and Holyfield just ducked away from it. Holyfield slugging away with Bowe, but he can't move him, and Bowe fires back from the inside. And again, late blows from both fighters at the end of round 9.
No, Bowe got the best of that exchange after the bell. He landed 2 solid punches after the bell.
Hey, come on, Milton.
We got to go from here.
That's a big round,
Okay, we're
in
going now.
my view, for Riddick Bowe.
10th round, baby. We got to go. These got to take all of these rounds here. You got the belt. You got to win these 9 minutes, okay? We've got to go this round. You can beat him either way, but you got to let the punches go now. Whether you're boxing or slugging, but let him go off. We hesitate a little bit more, okay? Let him go. Let him go, because if he go with you, he going to get tighter than you are. He's a big man.
There was that right hand. Didn't look like much, as you had mentioned, Tim, but it did wobble him. And then the left hook and left jab behind it, excuse me.
It did. It was. It had more on it when it arrived than it appeared to because of the length of the punch. But you could see he knocked Holyfield back and followed up with another flurry of punches that had Holyfield in some trouble. We're into the 10th. 10 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world. Riddick Bowe. And Evander Holyfield trying to regain the crown he lost a year ago to Bowe.
And you can see those fast hands of Riddick Bowe on the inside. Puts those punches together real well.
Into the 10th 10th round, and we showed you the 10th round from the first fight earlier in our telecast tonight. A wonderful round between two heavyweights, letting it all go in that first fight a year ago. We're into the 10th here again.
Again, Holyfield is back to the one jab. He has to double up that jab to be effective. He can't throw one jab.
And to the right hand down the pipe. There's a little blood from that cut again over the bridge of the nose of Bowe.
Bowe, it seems to me now, is fighting with a little more confidence than.
Working up top, drilling a blow intended for the midsection that landed on the belt of Holyfield. And now Holyfield grabbing onto the bigger man. Holyfield maybe showing a little bit of weariness here in the 10th.
Well,
with a good solid jab from Bowe.
That jab of Bowe's is like a straight right hand. You can see it move Holyfield right back.
And a good left hook from the champion, but Holyfield fires back with a combination. Under a minute to go in the 10th. A 21-minute delay in the 7th round due to the bizarre circumstance of a skydiver attempting to land in the ring here at Caesar's Palace.
I could see Bowe setting Holyfield up for that right uppercut. Very clever on the inside, Riddick Bowe.
Under 30 seconds we go. Good combination from Holyfield.
They both missed home run balls, Tim. Both of them.
Primal instincts again here by both men, toe-to-toe in the 10th. Final seconds of round 10. Out comes a mouthpiece of Bowe. Holyfield with a flurry at the end.
You can win this fight. It's yours. It's 10. You got 6 minutes.
Let's go back into that 10th round. Holyfield able to back up Riddick Bowe, left and a right behind it. Left hook, out comes the mouthpiece. That was after that good right hand by Holyfield a few seconds earlier. Good round for Holyfield, and this fight, at least the way I see it, Gil, is going to be decided in these last 2 rounds. Into round 11.
Now is when Holyfield should really, instead of warring, now Holyfield should start boxing, using his smarts, using his legs. Riddick Bowe is a dangerous guy if you're going to punch for punch with him. But I think they're right at the moment. Holyfield is a little fresher with the two and is a little more speed.
Come on, let's go.
But Riddick Bowe wants this fight, Tim, and he's snapping that left jab out. I'd like to see Riddick Bowe double up that left jab. I really think he could do a job with that left jab, the punishing jab that he has. There's a counter back from Bowe again.
Right hand miss from Holyfield. He missed the combination and paid again.
Another counter punch from Riddick Bowe.
Let him go, Evander. Let him go. Step back. Let him go. Come on.
Looked to me as if all of a sudden Evander Holyfield started to lose his legs or whatever, right up against these ropes over here.
Yes, he did. Even in round 10, Gil, it appeared that he had tired some, and he's looking more to kind of lean on Bowe in this round. He's throwing punches, but he's staying close where he doesn't have to move too much. That's dangerous territory, as he pointed out, with that big uppercut of Bowe's.
Well, right now, Tim, he seems to be out hustling Riddick Bowe on the inside. Stole that last round with that last flurry, and he may try to do it again at the end of this round.
Now both fighters working the body. Bowe comes up top, and Holyfield fires back with a good left and a right.
And he is moving Bowe with those punches, Tim. He's actually moving Bowe back. A big right hand by Holyfield, left hook.
Under 20 seconds we go in round 11. Final seconds. And a good right hand from Holyfield. Good combination.
Let's get back.
Holyfield looks tired in the corner, but he was effective. Here's Riddick Bowe being attended to.
Field up a little too straight. That's like trying to get him with those shots. You got to get down lower. You got to have this round. We need this round.
And you can fight him just the way you're fighting him. And close.
Let's take a look at some of that action. Right hand right on the button. Nails Riddick Bowe right on the button. But he still had his feet planted.
Later in the round, another right and a left behind it, and a right. A three-punch combination by Holyfield.
This is it. Holy. You got 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Emmanuel Stewart in the Holyfield corner has gone to an evangelical course of action, saying you can win this fight. This is going to be close. This is the final round.
I like that respect, the way they both touch gloves, Tim. As if to say to each other, good fight.
Low blow from Bowe. There's the Clancy scorecard.
I have Holyfield ahead by 1 point going into the last round, Tim. And I gave them each a 10-8 round. But now, Bowe was fighting the right kind of fight. Snapping that jab. Got that big, stiff left jab. He sets other things up with it.
And Holyfield with that mouth open, having some difficulty breathing through the mouthpiece here in a grueling fight. But a much better fight than the first one.
Tim, in the last 2 rounds, I had Bowe slightly ahead going into the end of the round, but then Holyfield rallied and stole the round.
Hey, come on.
And I think we're going to have to look for that in the last 30 seconds of this round. This is a very, very close fight. And again,
jab from Holyfield.
Yeah, but Tim, he's got to make the jabs a lot stiffer. He jabbed, instead of moving Bowe back, he moves back.
Well, but they're scoring punches nonetheless.
Well, I think that right now, Bowe is doing a better job with that left hand than Holyfield. Have to watch the last 30 seconds. Big right hand by Bowe and a counter by Holyfield, a counter by Bowe.
Bowe trying to get his punching room here. Holyfield staying close to him. Chin on his chest.
Get back.
Bowe got a little hurt in that last exchange, Tim. He really is going to have to suck it up to get through this round. Trying to push the big man away, and Bowe is trying to load up on the right hand. There's that counter right hand. Again, when Holyfield doesn't move him, he counters right back. And there goes a mouthpiece.
Final minute of the fight. Bowe lands a sharp left. Bowe with a right hand lead.
He wants to keep that title, Tim. And right now,
Bowe banging to the body. Holyfield didn't throw a punch in the last 20 seconds, and he misses on that one. Now he lands a short left. 30 seconds to go. Time is called.
Over here.
Time is called by Mills Lane.
Well, the mouthpiece. Holyfield's mouthpiece was out. Now they got that last 30 seconds. This is when you can look for Holyfield, see if he can suck it up again, because Bowe has won this round big, in my opinion.
Right hand by Holyfield lands. 30 seconds, under the 30-second mark we are. 10 seconds left. Toe-to-toe in the final seconds. Emmanuel Stewart literally tackled Holyfield, his fighter, after the bell, as both fighters were continuing to fire away for about the third time in the fight. Stewart, no doubt, sensing he's got a chance for victory there, didn't want any possibility of injury or disqualification. What a night! What a fight!
Big right hand by Holyfield. He's really trying in there, Tim. But this is a brawl at the moment. There's nothing artistic about this. This is just two big hearts firing at each other. Take another look. There's that stiff jab and a right hand counter by Evander Holyfield. Solid punch.
Well, even forgetting the skydiver, this has been a much more dramatic and exciting fight than the first one. And Evander Holyfield again proving he can go the distance with the big guy. Now they're trying to get at each other as the blows were struck by both fighters after the bell. Mills Lane trying to stop them, and then Emmanuel Stewart there came in and literally tackled his man Holyfield. I'm sure thinking, first of all, let's not have an injury when the fight's over, and let's not allow any possibility for a disqualification. Well, we had more than everything in this championship fight. Gil, how do you have your final score for the fight? We'll come back and get yours. Let's go to Michael Buffer.
The scorecards. Chuck Jampa scores the bout 114. 114, he has it even. Patricia Jarman scores the bout 115 to 114. Jerry Roth scores it 115 to 113 for the winner by majority decision. And once again, heavyweight champion of the world from Atlanta, Georgia, Evander Holyfield. For years and years, we appreciate the way you handled yourselves with the problem that we had that hasn't been wrong. You saw a great heavyweight battle. Let's hear it for the both. Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield.
Well, Bowe Holyfield 2 gave us everything and more that Bowe Holyfield 1 did. As Tim and Gil indicated, excitement, drama, and action from rounds 1 through 12 here at Caesars Palace. And of course, the strangest of occurrences took place in the 7th round when the skydiver came in and interrupted matters for 21 minutes here. And folks, just another note for those who may want to know, Judy Bowe, the wife of Riddick Bowe, was in fact removed from the arena, taken by ambulance to a local hospital, and Riddick Bowe's entourage tried its best throughout the fight from the moment of that interruption to stand up during the timeouts to block the seat where Judy was seated so that Riddick would not see her. So apparently he didn't know about it. with more on what took place. Let's take it back downstairs ringside now to Tim and Gil.
All right, we're here with Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. Can you let Riddick in here, Emmanuel, please? This was a tremendous, tremendous fight. Evander, not too many people thought you could accomplish this. You had to do it the hard way. It was a tremendous battle.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for the victory. You know, I walk by faith and not by sight. I knew I was up against. I was against the best big man in the world for skills and all that. I knew it was going to take me to fight a better fight and not make the mistake that I made the first time.
Well, Evander, we've asked Riddick to join us here because he's already paid you tribute, and he's here again with us on this interview. Riddick, fabulous fight. It went right down to the last round.
Oh, definitely. Evander fought a tremendous fight. He was hungry. He came for it, and my hand goes off to him, but I would like to do it again like the Thriller Manila.
Well, Riddick and Evander, you were also part of the most bizarre circumstance, maybe in sports history, somebody trying to skydive in here. It looked like you saw him first, Evander.
Well, I seen him in there. I thought somebody would jump in the arena to do something, and I pulled back. I'm just glad that, you know, the kind of distraction, you know, it kind of broke rhythm and all that, but I had to, you know, make the best of what
Well, you both seem to handle it very calmly. Riddick, what were your thoughts at the time?
I just realized, you know, because right before then I got cut. And I just had my mind that I had to maintain my composure, be relaxed so that when the fight resumed, I would be okay.
Well, we do want to tell you, Riddick, that your corner was helping there to make sure that you weren't concerned about your wife, Judy, because it happened near her, and they took very good care of her. I want to assure you of that. They did take her out because it was such a shock over there to everybody near the area, but I want to assure you that she's been well attended to.
Okay, thank you. And,
all right,
man,
Evander?
I take my heart out. I guess I was wrong with you, man.
Hey, man. I knew you.
I guess I was wrong about you. I said you was the second best. Now I guess I'm the second best. But I'll be back, and hopefully the next time it can be like the Thriller Manila. Okay. I shall return. I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to whoop him again. But he's all right, though. You know what I mean?
Yes, he's all right. He's more than all right. Thank you, Riddick. Evander, this was a fight won against a bigger man. The good little man beat the good big man. I guess the question was, could you... For once.
Boy, he takes a great shot, boy, because I hit his head. See that speed now he got, but he's all right.
Well, it's a great show, of sportsmanship. You've been a classy champion, Riddick, and I know folks expect that you probably will be again, but Evander has other ideas. Let's tell us about them, Evander. What does this mean to you to win this back? You know, only Muhammad Ali and Floyd Patterson have done this.
Well, you know, it means a lot. You know, my whole thing is that I credit this to the Lord Jesus Christ. You know, it took courage, and I had to pray to get courage just to come back. I knew I had to correct the mistake that I made, and I knew Bowe would be even tougher. I knew it would either match in his. You know, I credit this to Jesus Christ and to all the people out there who have faith.
Evander, I got to tell you that I know that you had a game plan, you had a strategy, but we all knew that when it came down to it, you were going to bang with him if you had to.
Well, you know, it took a little banging. If I didn't bang back with him, he would have got me out of there. You know, he was very strong, and he came out there very aggressive. And, you know, I had to box a little bit and bang a little bit. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you, Evander. A tremendous fight. This was a much more exciting fight than the first one. The fans here got more than their money's worth tonight, and they'll look forward to seeing you again.
Well, you know, I thank the Lord for everything. Lord bless everybody.
Is your goal now to reunite the titles?
Well, my goal now is to go home and go to church and give praise to the Lord.
All right, Evander Holyfield is the champion, defeating Riddick Bowe and winning this title back. Only Muhammad Ali and Floyd Patterson accomplishing that. A great effort by Evander Holyfield in a very close fight. It went down to that final round, a majority decision, with one judge calling it a draw, as I did on my card. Let's go to James Brown.
All right, Timmy, thank you very much. And by and large, Evander Holyfield did stick with his game plan. As you take a look in the fourth round, in fact, he did show that warrior's heart as he decided to stand there and slug it out, punch for punch with Riddick Bowe. As you can see, he was indeed a very busy fighter, not quite as busy as Riddick Bowe, but he did connect on a higher percentage. So Evander Holyfield in the second one comes through and pulls it out. As you take a look at the jabs, again, it worked very effectively for Riddick Bowe earlier on. You heard Gil Clancy indicating that Eddie Futch was telling him to use it a lot more. Maybe he should have used it even more than he was encouraged to do so. So a very strange evening indeed. And again, I do want to make note that Jim Lampley